Hi, Red. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here at TNE Magazine this morning.
Indeed.
Please,
I'm honored to be here.
it's a pleasure to have you. Please, for those who aren't familiar with the man behind the brand, let the people know what Red Pill stands for and what it takes to be a modern-day hip-hop mogul, businessman, activist, and lecturer in these times, and how important is it for people to know their history and culture?
All right. That was a very interesting question, and definitely something that I have no problem. I'm honored to answer that because, you know, it is it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time to be an entrepreneur. This is the age of entrepreneurism. It's a beautiful time to be an activist, to stand up for your people, a social activist, or I would say a social entrepreneur, which is a title that I subscribe to. And it is also a wonderful time to be very outspoken, you know, and also to be very aware of what your culture is. The reason why I say that is because we as a race, as a people, are culturally bankrupt, meaning that we domicile or live in the continent of America, but we have no idea about the illustrious history of both America, the Americas. I'm speaking about North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean islands, and also the continent of Africa and all other places where it has been recorded where black people not only inhabited but lent high civilization and culture to those places. Now, one of the world's biggest secrets that's hidden in plain sight is that the contributions that we gave to the Americas, to Asia Major and Minor, to the African continent, it's been buried. You know, it's been hidden from us. We've been given a slave narrative, which basically they cast a net and said every single person that's alive right now who has melanated skin is descendant of slaves. That is a total farce. That is one of the largest myths. It's actually debilitating our people right now from growth and development. So that is one of the reasons why Red Pill exists. Now, it's interesting that my name is Red Pill, which is it's definitely a take on the Matrix. For everybody saw the Matrix, you had the red pill and the blue pill. Well, I have a twin brother who goes by the name of Blue Pill, all right? His name is P. Moore, and we call him the Blue Pill. And then we have me, who goes by the name of Red Pill. Now, my first name, my government is Philip, all right? Philip Moreland is my name. And when you break down Philip, P-H-I, that's phi, which translates to fire, which translates to red, L-L-I-P, flipped around is pill. So I'm living out my program destiny that's within my name. Everybody, I encourage everyone to get a detailed breakdown of your name. Your purpose is in your name. Your purpose is in your birth chart. All right. There's a sister by the name of Dorothy Muhammad who did a name chart reading for me. She helped me realize that my purpose was in my name. But prior to that, I was in Harlem since 2005 doing a lot of groundwork. That's where my brand was developed and enhanced. That's where my platform, Know the Ledge, was given birth to. And some of the locals, brother by the name of Sarnetta and another brother by the name of Amun, began to give us these titles because of the way we were disseminating information, decoding and breaking things down. We're students of Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. Savy, Bobby Hennett, Dr. Delbert Blair, and a few other of the ground, the torchbearers and the groundbreakers of what is known as the modern-day conscious community, which evolved from what is known as the metaphysical underground, and a few other study groups that were taking place in the 80s and the 90s in people's basements. And then it evolved into LIU University, and then it went into the Oberian Dempsey Center in Harlem, and then it just grew and blew up when the internet and other things began, social media began to take form. It began to go viral, okay? But this was an underground movement of intellectualism, studiers, brothers and sisters who are arduous students of history, culture, metaphysics, the occult, and all other things that deal with enhancement of your mind in these days and times, in this matrix, which we identify as, an illusionary artificial construct. I don't want to get too far into it, but there are reports and there's news articles and there's research that's been done that, question if this is a computer simulation of the highest order, all right? But I don't want to lose the people. But, when you watch The Matrix, they give you the option of taking the red pill, which will wake you up, or the blue pill, which will keep you asleep. But nobody ever considered taking both pills and what the reaction to that would be. When you put red and blue together, you get purple. So what about that purple pill, So that's what me and my brother bring to the table, two different energies. We obey the law of duality. We understand that everything obeys the laws of duality. It obeys the laws of opposition. It obeys the laws of, as above and so below. So when you get red and blue, you'll get a red energy, you get a blue energy. We tackle topics. We get into research about our history, the hidden history, or the hidden colors, like the brother Tariq Nasheed has titled it, and so many other things. But you get to see different perspectives, and I'm really feeling like that's what's connecting to a lot of people. Every day when I come outside of my house, it doesn't matter where I'm at. If I'm in Atlanta, if I'm in L.A., if I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, shout out to the family out there. We just came from there this weekend. If I'm in New York City, Brooklyn, Bronx, Harlem, Queens, there's always going to be someone that stops and says, Red, are you Brother Red? I'm watching you. I'm learning. You're connecting. Not only are you connecting with me, but I'm able to put you on. I'm able to put you on to people who are not interested in what is known as consciousness, the quote-unquote 85ers. And they're listening. There's something that, you brothers bring to the table that connects with the average person. So that's an honor. That's honorable, because what it did is it's basically showing, it's letting me know that the purpose that I was moving with in the beginning is actually working. And that purpose is to give back and go back to where I came from. We come from the industry. We come from the streets. We come from the hood. We come from hip-hop. So it makes it doesn't help if you're waking up or you're becoming conscious and you turn your back on your culture, or you turn your back on where you came from, or you turn your back on your hood and you become an elitist. And that's something that we see reverberating throughout our community with a lot of brothers with letters behind their names, or a lot of athletes and actors and people who quote-unquote made it. They turn their backs on where they come from. They actually take off and run from where they come from. People begin to look at them like they're sellouts or something, like they're taking something that can help them and they're running with it, rather than bringing resources back, rather than bringing opportunities back, rather than bringing information and knowledge back. It makes no sense to become knowledgeable in an industry about contracts, about the music business, about the sports business, about the entertainment business, and you hoarding the information, you keeping it to yourself while people continuously suffer. And y'all talk when the cameras is off and behind closed doors, but you don't want to say it out there in the public. You don't want to put your people on, because it's not about money. It's not about anything. What's really important is knowledge. That's henceforth the brand Know the Ledge. What's really important is knowledge is power. There's a lot of rich people out here that have no power, as we see on a daily basis. There's a lot of people out here with influence with no power. You feel me? They can't reach out and do anything. They can't affect any change. They could protest, they could cry, they could beg, they could ask questions, they could act like they're mad, but they can't really affect change. They can't push a button and make things happen overnight. They can't really push 1 million people and move them in a direction where they could cripple a system that has been oppressing our people. So that's what we have to aim for. That's the only thing that celebrity in these days and times, that's what celebrity should be utilized for, not to gain more followers, not to pull more dollars out of people's pockets that are basically impoverished at this point, or they are operating on a consumerism level where they're consumer slaves and they're spending their money blindly once again, not empowering either themselves or the consortium, but throwing money into a system or throwing money into corporations that have done nothing to throw anything back at them. So they're theoretically, on paper, consumer slaves, and then through the corporate contracts and the way that they've been owned and controlled, they're now seen as new slaves, debtors. They're slaves to debt. You get signed for $1 million to a record label, you're $1 million plus interest into debt. That is nothing to be happy about, okay? Nobody should dance to that. I'm more interested in the person that gets signed for nothing and is able to put out a product where they're selling 1 million copies and they're not getting 2 cents on a $20 album. They're at least getting $10 and better. That's success to me. That's how you move in this industry. Anything other than that, you're TLC and all of these other people who sold multiple million. I'm talking about almost with diamond on them and don't got nothing to show for it. There's a whole bunch of people at that label that don't look like you, don't speak like you, doesn't walk like you. They're not in your culture. They have none of your vested interests. They get rich off of your hard work and your labor, your creative, your intellectual property and your creative prowess. What the hell is a record label but a distribution arm? They don't create they're not talent. There's no talent in there. They're not creators. They facilitate creators. So they're a bank. They're a loan agency. And, you know, we don't see too much we don't see the importance of them in this digital era. So hopefully I answered some of the questions. You know, there were a few that you asked. But
yeah.
For the record, Know the Ledge.
Yeah.
No doubt. For the record, Know the Ledge consists of Red Pill, who is I, Blue Pill, my actual identical twin brother, KT the Arts Degree, which is my younger brother, and Mama Pill, who is my mother. All right? We have a lot of affiliates. We're affiliated with different companies, different brands, different platforms, but that's Know the Ledge, and if there's no one else that belongs to that, unless my 8-year-old son and my 2-year-old daughter wake up and they begin to teach, and they represent for the babies. I have an older sister, Nakiba. She's about to come out and, start teaching for the people. She's in college right now. She's a psych major, so she'll be dealing with a healing aspect of mental health, something that our people right now, all across the border, I don't care if you got red bottoms. I don't care if you're wearing Gucci head to toe and all that. I don't care if you're blinging. You know what I mean? And all the way down to the people on Skid Row right now. There is a mental health crisis. There's a spiritual health crisis. There's an emotional health crisis. There's even a physical health crisis that is crippling the black community right now as we speak. You got to remember, it's all about perception. It's all about image. When I'm in New York and I'm walking around and I'm moving around, there's no other race that looks like they're out of their goddamn mind more so than black people right now. Even with these people who may be psychopaths and all kind of evil, they still smiling in all of their evilness. They're still smiling, and our people have grimaces on their faces. They're looking very upset, very beat down, very worn down, very tired. You can see the fear in our people's eyes. They're talking to themselves. They're going through levels of poverty never seen since the Depression. So we have to instill knowledge into our people. They have to know who they are. They have to get in touch with their culture. Like I said earlier, your richness and your wealth is in your culture. You don't control your culture. Your culture has been appropriated. You have not commodified your culture. You have not taken your culture back. It's being utilized against you. People are profiting off of our culture in ways that you cannot fathom. All right? People have turned their backs on their culture to assimilate into Western culture. They identify with Western culture post-integration. They want to be cowboys. They want to be Germans. They want to be Romans. They want to be Italians. They want to be everything but Africans and Aboriginal Indigenous Americans. That is a goddamn shame. But if these Italians and these Jews and these Romans and these Germans sell them their culture back to them, they the first ones sleeping outside the store, lining up because they think white ice is colder than black ice. So because we've turned our backs on our culture, because we don't know anything about our culture, and the only thing that we can identify with is chattel slavery, we are paying the price. Okay, we are getting lashes. We are getting stepped on. We are getting punished by our ancestors because anybody in religious people will understand this statement. Honor thy mother and thy father so your days on this earth will be longer. So you're not honoring thy mother and thy father. We are not even taking the attributes of their original names. We are not taking their traditions. We are not taking their cultures. We are not even wearing the cultural garb. So I'm excited every time I get dressed. I'm excited every time I step out of my door because I'm adorning myself with jewelry. I'm adorning myself with gemstones. I'm adorning myself with precious metals. I'm adorning myself with the motifs and the iconography of our ancestors and our culture. I'm adorning myself with everything that I can find that relates and resonates with me, that is not identifying me as an assimilated drone or clone of westernized culture, because I don't identify with that. I don't. You feel what I'm saying? I'll take it and I do what has to be done with it and mix it up and everything. But because I've woken up to who I am through my DNA, I don't owe any apologies to anybody. I don't owe any excuses or any, because when I studied my history, it said that my culture seeded every single other culture that exists on this planet right now. So my culture is the mother civilization. Our culture is the culture that the operating system that all other cultures are running off of. So getting back to that, I found power in that. I found strength in that. I found freedom in that. Freedom. Shout out to the natural hair movement with all of the sisters. Shout out to all of the movements that deal with returning the culture. It's beautiful to see how people adorning themselves in dashikis and African patterns, braids, locks, all of the natural hairs, all of the different styles. My mother rocks an afro ever since I've known her, since the 60s. My father rocks an afro. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's afroed up. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing. It looks like my younger brother KT is growing his afro out. You know, the antennas connects you with the universe, connects you with your non-ether, connecting you because we receive information, we receive downloads, we receive through the sunlight, through the photosynthesis. There's information inside of those angles or those angels of light. It feeds us. The food feeds us. The water feeds us information and wakes up DNA and activates us. So everyone who is returning to a more natural way of life, I salute you. That's where we're going to begin to find our freedom. That's where we're going to begin to wake up. That's when we begin to break the chains, because please believe slavery is all the way in full effect. All right? All the way. It's just, you know, the end result or the last phase of it will be chattel slavery, but right now there is a mental slavery taking place. There's a spiritual slavery taking place. There's a religious slavery taking place. There's cultural slavery taking place. There's economic slavery. There's 14th Amendment and brothers behind bars and slaves right now working for 5 cents a day. Yeah, it's a lot of slavery. There's debtor slavery, take people as slaves to their debt. So we about freeing the slaves. You know what I'm saying? Modern day Harriet Tubman business. So everyone who was working, yeah.
Tell the people a little bit about how you're breaking the chains with this slavery with your KTL Media and the sub-companies that are umbrella of that, as well as Facts Initiative, and what that stands for, and how you and your brother are hoping that will impact the community and the minds of black people in the community with your company.
Okay. Awesome question. I'll answer that from from backwards to front, like how the Mandarin or the Asians read. Facts Initiative is the acronym for food, art, arms, clothing, culture, technology, transportation, shelter, and strategy. Everybody's like, what to do next? What do we do next? There's something about our people where we're very reactionary. We are not as proactive as we are reactive. We are an emotional people. Our social engineers, our enslavers, those people who have programmed the chattel slaves since they created them. Because keep in mind, the American Negro, the African American, that is a species that was created on sex farms. That's a species that was created during the era of chattel slavery. It is a new species. Okay, it's a new strain. It is a new breed. It is mixed with blood. It's mixed with DNA and genome that had never been mixed at such a degree before in history. Okay, there's been some times in Rome where they were creating new strains and new breeds of people, but this Negro, this modern day Negro, is a new strain, and they're being social engineered by the same people who are responsible for creating them. I just came from Louisville, Kentucky. They breed horses out there now. They breed thoroughbred horses out there now. What did they breed before horses? Niggers, Negroes, African Americans. That's where they perfected, not only there, but the Europeans who were here were perfecting breeding of slaves. The breeding of that man, the same way that you could breed a thoroughbred pit bull, the same way that you could breed a thoroughbred horse. This is a science. Okay? So, these social engineers have bred fear. Okay? They have bred fear. You got to study science, how epigenetics travels from generation to generation. Trauma is passed down generationally. Trauma is passed down through the blood, through the DNA. So a lot of things. So when they come out with these slave reboots, I call it slave porn. 12 Years a Slave, Roots reboot. Django, all of this slave porn, they are reactivating, animating, and waking up dormant DNA that's inside of your genes, and they are kicking in that program again. Europeans, they go to watch these movies, have a point of reference, and it's not from a slave point of view. They're not looking at the movie from a slave point of view. They're looking at the movie from the master's point of view, from the slave owner point of view, from the rapist and the murderer's point of view, and that wakes up their DNA as well. Henceforth, we're now living in a time, in an era that eerily feels like Jim Crow, the 60s, and chattel slavery at the same damn time. So they're through the media, they're creating all of these situations, beefing it up through the media. Because there's a lot of cop shootings that are taking place, okay? But they're not talking about that. They're only shining light on the ones that they blow up. Why is that? Because there's a plan inside of that. That's called psyops, psychological warfare. So a lot of people are all in their feelings. Oh my goodness, what to do? I'm scared. Oh my babies, this and this and that. So, but when that's not happening, they're talking about Beyonce. They're talking about love and hip hop. They're talking about Jordans. They're talking about all of the dumb things that have nothing to do with our progression. They twerking. They're killing each other. You know what I mean? They beating each other up on social media. They know all of the niggardly things, right? All of the lower level, lower frequency things that these eugenicists and these social engineers and these racists are using as cannon fodder and as fuel to say, look at these undesirables. Look at these useless eaters. Look at these refugees. Look at these people that don't even deserve to live anymore. Let's do something with them. So we come along with a program from many years of studying our own people, for many years of studying our master teachers, for many years of reading the books, for many years of binging on lectures relentlessly. I'm talking about going 3 days, no sleep damn near, no change of clothes, just watching DVD and lecture after lecture. We come from the VHS era, writing down the books, writing down the authors, cross-referencing and doing all of this stuff, and we figured out food, clothing, and shelter is not enough. That's what we used to say before. And I'm known for saying facts a lot. So I had a reawakening when I was in Detroit last year, and it came to me, food, because they're killing us with the food. We have to plant our own food. We have to control our agriculture. We have to set up shop outside of the major cities and begin to distribute our own food. The soil is poison. The GMOs is not real food. It's messing with your genetics, okay? The meat is damn near. It's not even real meat. Some of the meat is human meat. It's dog meat. The meat is even feces. The meat is being injected with poison. The meat is being injected with hormones. It's gender bending our babies. It's gender bending our people. It's making them, it's altering, it's like altered beasts. It's altering them into people that they know not of. Okay? They have women feeling like they're men. They have men feeling like they're women. That is from a chromosome standpoint. That is genetics, family. There's a genetic war taking place. Google silent weapons for a quiet war. They intricately break down what they're about to do to us in the 80s, and that's what's being done now. So the food is killing us. We don't even have heirloom seeds anymore. We don't even have access to real seeds anymore. Okay? Once your food is gone, it's a wrap. Food, art. All of our people, a lot of people are artists in our community, visual artists, graphic artists, regular artists with the paintbrush, artists behind the camera, artists when they pick the mic up, recording artists. All right? All of these fall within the realm of art. Art, the Academy of Arts and Sciences is one of the most powerful academies or one of the most powerful organizations on the planet. There's a reason behind that. Study your liberal arts. So we're appealing to the artist community, what is known as the creator community or the maker community, saying that your wealth is in your art. Why are we giving our art to other people? Why are we allowing people to control our art? Why are we handing over our art and our intellectual property to people who don't have our best interests at hand? And they're utilizing our art to destroy our image around the world. It makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. We are living in a time in an era of a renaissance. You have to take your art back. Got to take your art back. I don't want to sit around with a whole bunch of people of other nationalities and cultures and have them dictate and appropriate my art. That's that's retarded. So you have fine artists, art appreciates in value. Okay, your Basquiat's of the world. You know what I mean? You have your black comic book artists of the world. They are so needed right now. You have futurists like Octavia Butler, Sophia Stewart, who wrote The Matrix and The Terminator. We need to begin to have those people as a part of our circle. Stop allowing Hollywood and other places to brain drain our people and take them from us. And then they pay them to work against us, because starving artists will do anything for a check. Culture. Going back to what I said before, there's freedom in culture. We have to begin to learn who we are. We have to take our culture back. Clothing. All of our people wear clothes all the way from your socks, your drawers, your panties, your T-shirts, the hoodies, the jackets, the coats, the furs, whatever you want to think about. Our people can create that. Not only are we creators of that, but when you study our history, we brought that into Europe. We brought high fashion into Europe through the Moors, through a man by the name of Blackbird or Zayed. We brought high fashion through the Kemetic Empire. They learned how to dress when they came into Kemet. All right, they were wearing burlap. They were wearing animal skins. They were wearing human flesh as skin as well. They used to wear human flesh as capes and other things. Okay, that's how they got down. That's how the Vandals and the Visigoths, which were the barbarians of Europe, that's what they wore. They would kill the victor, skin them alive, and that's what they would do. They would wear it. They even do that nowadays. Henceforth, the movie Silence of the Lambs, where he was making clothes out of his victims and lampshades. They did that in Germany with the Jews and whatnot. There's a huge underground market for human leather. These are sick people. All right? So clothing, the clothing industry has to be taken over. The clothing industry, we have to draw a circle around our industry and not allow anybody to sell anything to our people but us, but our network. From the underwear all the way to the hat, all the way to your T-shirt, all the way to your jeans. There are machines out there. There's empty factories waiting for black people to show up and get their black asses in there. All right? There are people across seas like melanated. There's India, there's Pakistan, there's Africa, there's China. Although many of these nationalities don't have our people's best interests at hand, I would rather sit at the table with them until we get strong enough to sit at the table with us and do business with them and begin to cut out the middleman. The middleman is the European. The European goes across seas and he gets stuff on a penny. He comes into the consumer market, which is known as the Black America, or just America bottom. America is just a consumer base. It's just a place where people buy things, and then they sell it at an uptick of thousands of percent uptick. That's how they make their money. So we're saying disrupt that. Let's get in the middle. Let's cut him out and disrupt that market. Technology. We live in a technological era. There's no getting away from that. We live in the future. We live in a time right now where we can begin to take power through technology. All of the great ones who came before us, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, all of them spoke about technology being our saving grace. Transportation, if we're going to move around, if we're going to have an exodus out of the big cities into the rural or the country, going reverse migration, going back into the country because we left the country and we came into the city, that is not working. That is not working. The city became a killing field for our people. The city is beginning to drain. The mega cities are draining us. It's concentration camps, all kind of things. Regentrification. How the hell does white people moving around you make your rent increase? And we just going for that. And we're proud of that. They came in with a Starbucks and a coffee or a bagel shop. They did the work that lazy Negroes wouldn't do, like sweep the block and paint the worn down, dilapidated houses. And now your rent went up 150%, and you're cool with that. No, we're not doing that. The rate of, do you understand what economic warfare is? Do you know what that does to people? Do you know the stress comes about based the stress-related deaths are increasing in all places that are regentrified because people don't understand why their bills are so high, why the cost of living went up, why the milk at the grocery store went up because the Europeans are around you? Come on. So subliminally, they're telling you that you because the cost of living drops wherever you go, and shit starts to fall wherever you go. But when they pop up, it goes up. What are they telling us subliminally? And we're going for that. So we got to get away from that. If they're leaving the country to come into the city, let's just go take the country back. All right, we need to be surrounded by nature anyway, because a lot of the mental health, the emotional health, the physical health, the deterioration of health on all borders is coming from being not connected to nature and drinking poison water like Flint and being around all of this poisonous air and eating all of the poisonous food that they have geo tracking on where they send the food. They know where they have zip codes and districts and red districts. They know where to send the radiated milk. They know where to send the poison meat. They know where to send the goddamn poison water. They know where to send the GMO food at. They understand. That's why when you go into neighborhoods that are predominantly white, the food even tastes different. Why are all of these people running to Whole Foods and they leaving your ass to run into C-Town and Food Town and Piggly Wiggly's? They know that something is up. This so-called health kick with Europeans is something brand new. They were eating rare meat in the 80s. They were not on no health kick. That was something that African Americans were doing with Dr. Sebi, Dr. Africa, Dick Gregory, and all of these other people. Europeans, that was something that they did not participate in. They were not known for healthy eating. The majority of the foods that they sell in Whole Foods are not native to Europe. Okay? They're not even native to Europe. That's not their thing. That's your thing. Now you're eating their diet, their sad diet, and they jumped on indigenous diets, African diets, and all of these other diets that are helping to keep them alive longer, because health is wealth. It is the first law. It's not about your money. It's not about nothing but health. Health comes first. Nothing comes before that. Steve Jobs was the richest man in the world. He died for health-related reasons, such as cancer, which is curable. With all the money that he had, he was going into chemotherapy, meaning that with all of the information, with all of the iPhone, iPad, and all that, he was a goddamn fool. He was not knowledgeable in health, and none of that money was able to save his ass. He died early. He died in his 50s. Okay? So what did all of the money and success mean if he's not here to enjoy it, if he's not here to be with his children, if he's not here to develop his company and adore his legacy? Health is wealth. Okay? Focus on health before anything. They got niggas focusing on rims. They got people dying for crack rocks. They got people focused on sneakers and coats. It's retarded. It's insanity. Shelter.
Shelter.
The last one is shelter. We got to live somewhere. Monolithic domes, earthships, communes, land trusts. We need to even have movements where we start taking back some of this land that's owed to us. We are the indigenous, aboriginal inhabitants of the Americas, and I'm talking about the whole continent. All of us ain't come on no ships and boats. Or if we did come on ships and boats, we came way before the Pilgrims. Strategy, think tanks, closed-door meetings, conventions, strategy, being able to have plans, not listening to actors and athletes and rappers tell us what to do as a nation, as a people. Who the fuck are they? They're athletes. They've been trained to be their bucks. They've been trained to run a fucking pigskin, to dunk a ball, to throw a ball in a hoop. They're not scholars. They are not leaders. All right? The only purpose that they serve is to financially help the leaders. Or if they want to get physical with their buck strength or their prowess, yeah, you could do some of that. What the fuck? I'm not letting no athlete lead me. I'm not letting a goddamn actor. They're actors, meaning that they've been trained to play a role. I don't mean to curse. I want to get on, a tight part. We'll bleep that out. But they have been trained. This is their job. They are thespians. I went to acting school, the spirited actor. Shout out to my teacher. Damn, that's a shame that I'm forgetting her name. Tracy Marable Moore. She is an angel. You know what I mean? I learned how to play the role. These are actors and actors. What the hell do they know? What do they know? What have they done in their field to even consider, to even be considered? They're not even acting out the role of a revolutionary. They're not even acting out the role of a scholar. They have not even done that in Hollywood yet. So they can't talk for us. They can't talk for us. They have resources. They have access to industry. They have all things that we need as a nation to rise up, and that's the role that they need to play. They need to donate some of their expendable income that they have no problem throwing away on building infrastructure and industry and adding on to the people that are really doing the work. That's their purpose. Until further, no, and don't even talk about the rappers. Let's not even get into that because I'll start cursing up a storm. I don't even want to get into them. The jury is still out as whether they are some of the biggest race traders ever to be a part of our nation ever. Not in this generation, ever. Ever. The biggest race traders.
Well, speaking of race, let me ask you, my next question is I had in the mix of the music and the race, I had the opportunity to listen to your new hit single with Kambada, Made for This. What sparked this song at this moment in time, and what are you hoping this song will do for the 85%ers that are listening to these other rappers who are sending out this other type of message?
Excellent question. Now, to quickly finish the question that preceded this, I'm going to jump in, and then I'm going to jump right into that. When we started Know the Ledge Media, when we started Know the Ledge in like 05, 04, we came out of the industry. We came out of the streets. We brought our culture into the conscious community, meaning we brought hip-hop into a community that was run by elders. They was into jazz, rocking disco, and soul music and other things. They wasn't really rocking with hip-hop. They were talking down to it. But we was like, yo, in order to really make a move, I'm not dropping my culture to get into this community. I'm not denying who I am to sit amongst the elders and act like I'm a Poindexter and I'm all upright and things of that nature. No, I'm going to come in here with this energy. We're going to come in here with this swag. We're going to come in here with this mind state. And hopefully the elders and the master teachers and some of the other people who were part of the audience will accept us. And they did, because we were respectful. Because we remember what was taking place in the 80s with the golden era of hip-hop, because we remember it was intricately tied into consciousness via Malachi Z. York, via Farrakhan, via the nation, via the Nation of Gods and Earth, via the Nubians and things, and the influence of all of the people that I looked up to like a god, they had knowledge at their foundation. They were not groveling, knuckle-dragging Negroes, you understand, who had no purpose on this planet but to, you know what I mean, be a Goyim, or, you know, remember Lord of the Rings, the Precious, you know what I mean, be be a vulture or be an attack dog for the European, because that's what they turned it into. A demon, an attack dog for this wicked European who has created them. That's what they've become. So we was like, these are not those same Negroes. These are gods. And when I incorporated that, and I was like, yo, I'm an artist at heart. Me and my brother were fine artists when we were young. I won prizes when I was a teenager for my art. We've been accepted into schools for our art. Talent. I was in a talented school. You know, me and the brother A.A. Rashid, we were in talented programs as artists, as teenagers. So when you're rapping and you're drawing, which like I'm a cartoon artist, right? But when I decided to start writing poetry, I transferred that art into words. But I'm still being an artist because I'm coming up with rhymes. I'm painting pictures with words. So that transferred into my rap or hip hop. You know what I mean? Or, you know, and then you develop a flow, you ride the beat, boom, you make magic. I watched when I was a child or when I was a young adult, I watched Biggie Smalls terraform the whole New York with words, meaning that he came along and he created an environment that began to build around me with his words and the pictures that he painted. Because I promise you, he helped usher in the era of the Benjamins, or he ushered in the Louis, Gucci, Fendi, Versace era with words. We was wearing hoodies and Timbs. Brothers was dirty, not me, but other people around me. You know what I mean? They was not entertaining, you know, being suave for the ladies, being clean and being, you know, a certain kind of, you know what I mean, a certain kind of status to attract the attention of women, you know. And I watched him do that with words. And some people may say that it was negative, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, it kind of brought our people to a place where they chose materialism over spirituality, and they chose, you know, the Matrix. Yeah, they definitely took the blue pill with that one, you know. And that's an era. That era is still alive. That era is still strong. The trap rappers and Jay-Z and everybody from Future all the way, they still are living off of the program that Biggie Smalls wrote, and Puffy vicariously with Puffy. That's still the same program. It was perfected in the Tunnel, which was a nightclub. That's the Tunnel era. Nothing changed. It just moved to the South, and it became trap music, snap music, and all of that other funny stuff that they give titles to it. What are they still talking about? Gucci made his home. Guap. They still talking about Louis, Fendi. They still talking about Papa Bottles. They still talking about that Lil Kim has been cloned and whatnot with Nicki Minaj and all of the other ones that come out of her. They still talking about selling their bodies. They still talking about tying people up and put them in the trunk and moving weight and birds and all of that. So we just see that whole thing. So how do you combat the culture? You have to insert something into the culture. You got to step into the culture, and you have to disrupt it. So making a song like Made for This, making a song like Scorpion King, making a 9-track EP that me and the brother Kambada did, that is going to disrupt what is known as this quote-unquote nigga music. So the approach that we made some trap music. I call it esoteric trap music. We made some East Coast boom bap music. You feel what I'm saying? And we made some laid back vibing music because, you know, what the music that I like is energetic, soulful. It gives you a feeling, and it speaks to your mind as well. But I like music that gives you a feeling, that makes you want to move, that makes you want to. That's the era that we're in right now. We're not in the era of super duper syllables and cerebral music and you got to go into Wikipedia to find out what's being said. That we got that. We still got that. But we're utilizing a new approach, and we're trying to combat the music that are capturing 2-year-olds all the way up to people that's in their hundreds. You got grannies in their hundreds that's twerking, and they can't even help it because the beat, the rhythm, the drums, all of these frequencies, some of the frequencies are very low, and they speak to your lower chakra, your red chakra, henceforth red pill. So I'm going to bring that music that's going to speak to that as well, but we also going to raise it up to the higher chakra. And then me and Blue Pill have an album coming out called Blurred Lines, B-L-U-R-E-D, Blurred Lines, where you're going to get Blue Pill's blue chakra stuff mixed in, and we'll meet right there in the middle. That's called ma'at, the balance. You have to have a balance. So a lot of artists have not connected with the demographics of the 85ers. They connected with a small consumer base, and that's great. We're connecting to a larger consumer base, but the magic in everything is in the visuals. I'm a very visual person. I believe the visuals are what has propelled our popularity and our message and our image into a whole nother field, because we started out with visuals. We started out on YouTube in 2008. Then we went into the blog talk realm, which is not visual. It's only audio. You can only hear us. A lot of people they couldn't put a face to the name. They couldn't put a face to the lyrics. They couldn't put a face to the words. Now, when we jumped on the YouTube thing via the platforms that are new black media, Black News 102, Sinetta TV, House of Consciousness, through Sinetta, through Baba TV, Fire Every Time, through Baba, through Brother Rich, with UGR TV, Black Magic 363. Each one of these people reached 100,000 people with their programs. So when we decided to collaborate, because we live in an age of collaboration, we live in an age of cooperative economics, we live in an age of strategic alliances and allegiances. When we utilize those formulas, that's when we found, things begin to explode. So we're going to do the same thing with the music. We're going to create a visual album and show the people the lifestyle, because consciousness is a lifestyle. We're going to show them the clothes. We're going to show them the jewelry. We're going to show them the culture. Yeah, we'll have people, doing the hit the Vogue and all of that. We'll have them dabbing and all of that. But you could dab in the dashiki. You know what I'm saying? You could dab. You could do all of those new dances. But it's the person. You're gonna see the persona of the person doing it. I'm a big fan of Outkast. I was in Atlanta in 1997 all the way to 2000. I remember the Goody Mob wave. I remember the Outkast wave. I remember watching Bombs Over Baghdad, all of those visuals. It opened up my mind to a reality that didn't exist. That's the power of Afrofuturism. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to go into film right after the music, because consciousness needs a soundtrack. No movement exists without a soundtrack. This new black movement of consciousness, the Black Lives Matter, the raising of the fist, people waking up, they don't got a soundtrack. They don't have a soundtrack. None of the rappers have found it in their creativity. They have not found that the creative prowess to create a soundtrack and a sound in this era of Renaissance. Shout out to David Banner. Shout out to Jay Electronica. Shout out to all of the artists. Shout out to Immortal Technique. Shout out to Jasari X. Shout out to Cy Rock the MC. Shout out to all of the artists who are basically putting their coals in the fire, who are throwing their hats in the ring, who are doing the work. Shout out to Nas. Shout out to Mos Def. Shout out to all of the people who precede us, Common and whatnot. But we live in a new era. We live in a new time. It's going to take new approaches, all right? So we're coming from a place that's a little more raw. We're going to disrupt the same way the NWA disrupted when they came. The same way the Public Enemy disrupted. This is the age of disruptor. Where are the disruptors at? Niggas ain't disrupting. Pardon me. Negroes ain't disrupting. They playing along to get along. And they're reacting. They're not disrupting. So email, the software called email disrupted the post office. The internet disrupted the TV. These are disruptors. So what is our disruptors? Black Lives Matter is called a disruptor group. But I beg to differ. Interrupting Europeans, good Europeans, from eating their good food, that's not revolutionary. Laying down on the highway and making people frustrated so they can feel the frustration that black people feel, that's not disrupt, that's soft. very soft, shining light and giving your energy to Europeans and pilgrims instead of shining light and giving energy to raise your people up and educate your people and stand your people up and bring your people some of those resources and a lot of that money that y'all got. That's revolutionary. I understand quantum physics. What you put your attention to and what you focus on, you give power to. They gave power to these Europeans. They gave power to that whole conservative, white, supremacist, racist base. They gave power. They the ones that gave Trump his power. Facts. You don't give power to them Europeans. They got our people focused on Europeans and pilgrims instead of focusing on us. How many did Black Lives Matter ever big up Hidden Colors? Did Black Lives Matter ever big up Dr. Francis Cress Welsing? Did Black Lives Matter ever big up any of the scholars in the conscious community? Did they big up Malcolm X? Did they big up Marcus Garvey? Did they tell all of the people that they have influence over, these are the people you need to study? They're not teaching their people anything. They're teaching their people how to cry. They're teaching the people how to beg. They're teaching the people how to be all distressed and look at white people as the boogeyman. They're not teaching our people anything.
Well, let me ask you, speaking of teaching the people what they need to know, tell the readers about your upcoming event on August the 20th and what you'll be teaching there and what this event and what they can take away from this actual event on the 20th.
Oh, beautiful. August 20th in Waterbury, Connecticut. All right, for all of the family out there in Connecticut, CT. We are continuing the Facts Initiative tour. We just came from Louisville, Kentucky, and we presented the Facts Initiative out there to a resounding approval of the audience. Everybody said that they were ready to sign up. What we have to do with the initiative is the same thing that Hillary or Killary and the same thing that Trump did. They campaigned. They went across the country. They got in front of people's faces. They hugged the ladies and kissed the babies. And they let their voter base know what they represented. Make America great again. Make America white again. Make America racist again. You understand? And whatever Hillary or Killary's campaign was, I don't know what it was. You know, let's get the super predators. Let's continue the policies that Bill Clinton put forth by locking Negroes up and destroying their families. Let's continue a soft war, a quiet war with silent weapons on the undesirables. That's her campaign. That's what she stands for. She destroyed Libya, and there was a genocide of Africans over there. Nobody talks about that. She basically killed the leader of a sovereign nation and emboldened and helped pump and funnel money into a terrorist organization. The terrorists in Benghazi that turned around and killed their own people, killed the senator or whatever, or the congressman. But Facts is coming to Waterbury, Connecticut. Facts is going to present the solutions. Facts is a membership. It is a membership, right, program, meaning that we are seeking a membership of 30,000 members. And it is also solution-based because it utilizes social entrepreneurship. It utilizes socioeconomics, and it also utilizes crowdfunding. All right? So we're going to have 30,000 people at $20 investment every week, which will yield a result of $600,000. Those $600,000 will be funneled into each one of those networks that I named earlier, which is food, art, arms, clothing, technology, transportation, shelter, and strategy. I didn't touch on the arms earlier. The arms is simply the Second Amendment gives us the right to arm ourselves. The brothers and sisters in law enforcement and the armed services, they've been arming themselves. The brothers and sisters with licenses across America, they've been arming themselves. We have to police our own communities. We have to begin to arm ourselves. We have to teach our children, our women, and our men how to properly shoot their weapons, how to clean their weapons, how to even create their own weapons. Okay, that's where arms come in. So we're coming to Connecticut. We're going to drop it for the family, and we are keeping this thing going. Our aim is to reach at least 30 cities within the next 3 months. All right? So that's what we want to do. We want to get in front of the people. We want to present to them the facts. We want to show them the program. I know that I'm running through it quickly, but it is a 4-hour presentation because it's that detailed. It is that detailed. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of statistics to show to people. We have a lot of futuristic visions to show to people. Because one thing a lot of people do is focus on a problem, but they don't want to implant into the subliminal, into the minds of our people what their future could look like, right? I want to show you what your future will look like. I want to show you what a black city will look like. I want to show you what a city or a town of ours with a big-ass wall around it would look like. We could begin to get ourselves and our minds right again. We can have our own economy, cryptocurrency, like the Bitcoin, digital currency. We can have our own food source. We can have our own clothing factories. If you're not producing anything, you're not even considered anything. Like, we have to take production back. We don't produce our own food. We don't produce our own water. We don't produce our own clothing. We don't produce nothing. We're a consumer based inside of a capitalistic structure. That has to change. We have to become our own producers. We have to get machinery. All of these empty machineries and factories in Detroit, Ohio, Atlanta, Georgia, on the outskirts of big cities. Why are they still empty? Why are we not moving into them and injecting, and putting our intellect and our intellectual property and our power into these empty warehouses and factories, employing homeless people, employing unemployed people, employing professionals, and taking them out of the quote-unquote European-controlled and owned businesses or corporate structures and begin to offer them better services, better packages, better pay, and all of these other things. We can do that with the Facts Initiative. But one thing it's going to take is the people. Nothing will move without our people. I am not focused on anybody that is not awake at this moment. I am not trying to wake anybody up. I'm the red pill, and that's my job, to disseminate the pills to wake the people up. But there are so many people that are awake right now. Picture this scenario. There's a room, there's a college dorm, there's a college classroom filled up with multiple people who paid their tuition to learn. They paid their tuition to be a part of your semester. They paid their tuition, they read your syllabus. They want to be a part of your movement. You're in the class, opening the window, shouting at the people who are not in your class that are outside, trying to get them to come to be a part of your class. But the people who paid, the people who showed up, they're not even getting fed no information. They're sitting there waiting for the class to start. They want you to pay attention to them. So we got millions of people who have waken up over the past 10 years. I want to pay attention to them. They're underdeserved. They're underdeveloped. Nobody's talking to them. Nobody's presenting plans. Everybody's focused on getting new people. I'm not concerned with that right now.
So tell the people how they can be a part of the Facts Initiatives and how they can donate these funds and how that they can kind of create some kind of play to see when you'll be coming to their city, where they'll be able to find this information to be a part of this movement.
Thank you. We just got picked up by a crowdfunding site that only deals with political campaigns and initiatives, right? I had to get vetted for this, like hard, this was not easy, okay? This was not easy. And when they realized what we were doing and what we were bringing to the table, they were like, this is excellent for our platform, and we want to bring you in, and we want to support what it is that you're doing, and we feel that your program is something that our demographics and the people who are part of our program would definitely support. All right? So that website is, hold on, let me pull that up. That website is hold on, damn. I don't want to give you the wrong title. Give me 1 second. But in the meantime,
you can send it to me, and I'll put it in the I'll put it beneath the YouTube video so people can click it.
But in the meantime, we do have a GoFundMe. Okay, we have a GoFundMe that we put up a few weeks ago. The goal is $10,000. Why $10,000? $10,000 because of this. We cannot afford to sit back and wait for people to contact us and say, Brother Red, Brother Blue, we want to bring you to our city. We think that the Facts Initiative is something that we need. We think the Facts Initiative is something that will help. One of the solutions, but, give me a rundown of all of the solutions that all of your entertainers, that all of your quote-unquote leaders, that all of these churches, and everybody else has brought forth to the people. I'll wait, okay? I'm a matter of fact, I'll hold my breath and wait. I'll do that. Matter of fact, I'll stand on my head and I'll just wait. And they'll come to find out that there's nothing for you. Nobody has come up with anything for you. They want you to pray and shop and watch VH1 on Mondays. That's all they want you to do. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the funds that we collect and the resources, or we're going to take the funds and we're going to create our own base. We're going to create our own, campaigns, and we're going to book ourselves, right, in different states. So we could create our own campaign. Trump financed his own campaign. He wasn't waiting for black people or white people or trailer trash to get behind him. He said, I'm going to get behind myself. So we have GoFundMe /the THE Facts Initiative FACTINITIATAVE, the Facts Initiative. All right, we've raised only $415 of our $10,000 goal so far, and we definitely know that will change very quickly. Okay, because there's work to be done, and like I said, the people at this point are responsible for their future. They're responsible for their children and their grandchildren's future. They're responsible for their legacy. This is about legacy. This is about what legacy as a people are we leaving behind. Are we going to leave behind a legacy of outdoing the slaves? Are we going to leave a legacy of destroying our own people at our own hands? Because when they tell the story, they're not going to tell the story from a no-to-ledge standpoint. They're not going to tell the story from a conscious standpoint. They're going to tell the story the same way the hunter tells the story about the lion that he just killed, from the hunter's perspective. So they're going to say that you did it to yourself. You fell on your sword. You destroyed your own community. That's what they're going to say. And everybody around the world is going to be like, good riddance that they're gone. So this is not time. This is not a game. We're not here to play games with anybody. This is not what we do. If I was in the industry, I would have my goal right now. If I was in the industry, maybe I would have my goal off of one check. They would sign me up. That's how the industry was treating us. That's how ready they would go. With anything that they do, even if it's dealing with tomfoolery, they still support their own. We got to begin to learn how to do that, mimic that part of the industry. You know what I'm saying? All of the people that say that they want change, they sitting on their computers and waiting for the world to end, all of these things, and they looking for new leaders or new Christ-like figures. We got to start really stepping up and doing the work because, like I said, the people that we consider ourselves fighting against, they are well-financed. They don't pump fake with their money, and they finance their doctrine, they finance their campaign, and they finance white supremacy, racism unapologetically, and they have a reward system for their race soldiers. We don't. We don't have no value system. We don't have a reward system, and we are not utilizing our economics in a way that is going to empower people who are trying to do better for not only themselves, but their people. We put ego and jealousy and envy in the mix, and that's what's killing us. So we got to get our minds right because nothing is going to get better until we do that. So you got the GoFundMe, and I also have facts.instapage.com. That is a landing page where you can sign up with your email for the website or the membership site that is being formed as we speak. And some of the funds in the GoFundMe will go towards our membership site. The membership site is going to be a few $1,000s to build because it's very intricate. All right? It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be your home. It's going to be your social platform, like how we all go on Facebook to do nothing sometimes. I've learned a lot on Facebook based on the articles and people's status updates, but I've also wasted a lot of time, and I've also seen a lot of tomfoolery and all kind of other things take place on there. So we need our own social platforms so we can begin to come amongst ourselves as professionals and not just gossip and not argue and not debate and not talk crap and not waste our time, because time is everything, and a lot of people have been wasting time doing nothing. That is the hallmark of people who are fearful or who don't have solutions. They just get around each other and waste time. We ain't about that. We about that work. We about that work. Okay? We are definitely about that work. So, facts.instapage.com. Instapage spelled the same way to Instagram. INSTAPAGE.com, right? And facts. And also the GoFundMe, The Facts Initiative. If you're going to leave $5, no problem. If you're going to leave $500, no problem. You have to ask yourself, what is more important to you at this time? What is $5? What is $20? You spend that frivolously. Okay? We spend that frivolously on Starbucks or Chipotle. You know what I mean? Real talk. A few lattes and you 20 in the hole. Okay? You go to Chipotle, 20 in the hole. So we saying to ourselves, like, we really got to step it up. We really got to step it up. We can't be apologizing.
Like to leave for the people that they read?
The last words that I want to leave to the family is, you know, it's love. You know what I mean? Love and light. You know, love and light. Let's start working together for the bigger picture. I have 2 children. This is who I'm doing it for. I'm putting my life on the line. I'm not just doing this to take pictures, you know, and no, I'm not just doing this to be known. Because one of the biggest tricks is to be known. You know, I'm known. I got fame. You know, there's fame, you know, attached to this. But what's fame when you can't do nothing with it? What's fame when you can't translate that fame into actual power to do something to actually help your people, when that's all that you showed up to do? That's what I'm here for. That's what my mom is here for. My mother is responsible for helping to cure AIDS with Dr. Sebi. Real talk. Like, that is her legacy, for curing AIDS and beating the Supreme Court in the 80s. I belong to a woman who helped cure AIDS. And I've watched the people throw billions of dollars at the AIDS march, in the cancer march, and all of these other things, and throw all of their income, all of their resources behind people who give them nothing. That has to stop. You know what I mean? That has to stop. So your support is definitely needed and warranted at this time. I have 10 years straight, 10 years on the ground in the conscious community. Okay, on the ground, on the front lines, putting everything at risk, to the point where everybody that I meet, every third person is an agent now. That's what I'm dealing with. So for those of us, and I want to just leave the name of the political, because now it's a political movement. It's called Crowd PAC. CROWDPAC. That's where we have our crowdfunding initiative. Our Facts initiative is also on that website. That is a very prestigious crowdfunding platform, Crowd PAC. All right? And they watching. So we don't want to make it look like we don't support our own when our own are coming forth. I don't want their support. I don't want foreigner support. I don't want to take a bag from somebody who don't look like me, because every time you take a bag from somebody that's not a part of your nation and your culture and your tribe, you have effectively been, you've been, quote unquote, compromised. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They got their hand in your pocket. So we have to become more responsible. Crowdfunding is a saving grace for black people everywhere. You got to utilize it in a better manner. So all I'm saying is this, that we're not here to do the work. We don't got to try to figure out what's being done. We're doing the work. We're carrying the flames and the torch of our master teachers, of the Dr. Sabies, of the Dr. Phil Valentines, of the Dr. Francis Cress Welsons, of the Dr. Delbert Blairs, of the Hakeem Bays, of the Taj Tariq Bays, of the Rosmariah Bays, the Mama Pills. You dig what I'm saying? The Jewel Pookrams. All of these people, we stand on their shoulders. I'm talking about 100 other peoples, of the Umar Johnsons. All of us. Brother Polite, Sarnetta, Brother Rich, Red Pill, Blue Pill, KT the Arch Degree. There's a pantheon of us. I'm not here by myself. I didn't show up by myself. I belong to a nation, and there's millions of us ready to go. We ain't talking about no war. We're talking about self-preservation. We're talking about loving our people. We're talking about loving our culture, not apologizing for it. We're talking about being able to have our ancestors smile down on us because we live in this. We're doing something more righteous. We live in a better way, and we're preparing a future for our progeny. There's nothing wrong with that. Facts. And I love and light. All right?
That's right, guys. You heard it from our boy Red Pill activist, hip-hop mogul, amazing man. Go out, support this man. Click the links below. Also, read his article in our August issue. Make sure you go out there and pick up his clothes. You'll see some of his clothes in our men's style section as well for those.
Yes, KingzCounty.BitCartel. I forgot to plug the clothing site and just get into the history of that. But that's another day. We could come back.
We can always,
as you can tell, there's a lot to talk about.
You know, you always invited to TNE Magazine. You know, we got mad love for the guys. So, guys, make sure you check that out, and we look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Stay posted, TNE Magazine.
Peace.
Anthem on the track. Yeah. King shit.